Dammit, Moffat.
A Doctor Who review of The Bells of St. John.
Hello, my name is Shamus Kelley, video producer of The Tower Light.
And I'm Abby Murphy, assistant photo editor at The Tower Light.
And here is our first official review of a Doctor Who episode. We just got done watching it. We wrote a ton of notes during the episode, so we're going to have a lot of good time. So once again, going to this episode, I had a little bit of, I thought I wasn't going to like it.
Yeah, I came in with zero expectations, and I kind of expected not to like it, so I was pleasantly surprised.
So I guess when you go in with low expectations, you come out, when it gets a little bit above that.
Yeah.
I think the first thing about this episode that really got to me, well, the first thing, my first note is literally Sherlock text.
Yeah, I said as soon as it's like,
yes,
Moffat, we know you thought of. Actually, was it Moffat who thought it or Gatiss?
I don't know, but
well,
it was
like,
in
is Sherlock.
Well, it's like this whole episode. It's like, were you aware other things I did?
Ooh, this episode had a lot of kind of references or throwbacks. Like I saw a lot of elements from different things Moffat's written in this episode, kind of thrown all together.
And then there was the one he didn't write, which was the Idiot's Lantern.
Yeah,
because of the blank faces.
Yeah, the Idiot's Lantern. That was totally that was this.
And okay, so I think our first joke about the whole episode was, "Don't click.
Don't even click and you're dead."
And it's true. It's that joke that Stephen Moffat basically has the same story,
It's almost like, was he aware of it? Was he just being ironic about it? It's like, yes, look at me writing the same things, but not.
The thing is, it's a theme, it's a motif. He's clever.
And it's a motif.
No, but really, getting sucked into the internet, that's
such a cool thing.
I don't know. See, I don't think it was as cool. That seems like a plot that'd come from the 90s. That sounds like something that would be, in a really crappy 90s comic book. Oh, no, we're in the internet!
Wait, see, I was kind of looking at it from a different perspective, that it could be really cool to kind of talk about our dependence on the internet and how people are always connected and always plugged in. I thought he was going to play with that idea, because I think that's something that's very about our society, that's very modern and things. And then it was just kind of yay, Wi-Fi.
Well, the problem is that they probably didn't have enough time to do that.
That's
because
true.
They have to introduce all this new stuff. But that was the same thing with the Christmas special, where they had to do all this other introducing.
I don't know if they had to do as much introduction with her.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those things, I was trying to compare it in my head to the other companions' first episodes, but it was really difficult to do that because we've seen her
twice already.
And it's just kind of okay, for real this time, guys, for real.
So let's go through the episode a little bit.
She didn't get killed off. That was nice.
So we have a new title sequence, which we've seen before, and they're going back to the classic Who staple of having the face in the titles. I know a lot of people, when the new series came back, they're like, "Oh, why isn't the face in the titles anymore?" I'm like, who cares? But now it's back. So for all of you, I guess it's the 50th anniversary. Woo!
It was very pretty. I like saying Jen Louise Coleman's name. I was like, oh.
And then we have Vikings. No other monks.
They were just monks, and I was looking for certain monks that weren't there, and it was sad.
A certain monks? I think what you by that you mean monk. You mean monk. You mean George Blagden.
He's a great character.
He's your favorite actor.
Yes.
So the phone was ringing, and they're like, "Oh no!"
That was such a throwback to The Empty Child, The Doctor Dances, and I kept expecting to be like that phone's not supposed to work. That's really weird. And then they just.
Although I did like the little detail of he keeps pulling I think the cord came out of the box.
Yeah, the cord kept going, and I was impressive.
And and then all right, let's talk about so Clara somehow calls the doctor. Okay, this was probably the most infuriating part of the episode for me, because
I could see by the incoherent scribbles.
The password was an anagram.
Yeah, for run you clever boy and remember.
I
just laughed. I mean, Moffat does that a lot. I think it's trying to make it more accessible to the audience and make it uber obvious that.
Were you aware?
But it's kind of annoying to me, but I can understand why he does it. He's making it really. At least he's tying it together.
And also,
I guess.
Although there is also the wonderful, subtle yet not of the reading the book by Amy.
That was a subtle.
And then they had.
It was chapter 11's the best one.
Yeah, it's I like chapter 10, but chapter 11's the best.
It's okay. Chapter 10's the fan favorite.
We'll get on a little bit about 10 things later. Okay. 3 times in a row, Doctor Who.
Doctor Who. I saw that in a clip before the episode, but seeing it again did not endear it further to me.
It's we get it, okay?
It was he was Moffat, and I feel like maybe Moffat was kind of playing with the fact that he tries to do that. I'm not sure if he's... But then Clara slams the door in his face, and that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
If he was trying to do some kind of, clever.
And there was
banter.
like a scarf in the background.
Yeah, this looked like Tom Baker's scarf, which was kind of cool.
Okay, and then so the doctor, he goes to take off his Viking outfit, and let's milk this catchphrase of, Vikings are rogue, monks aren't cool. Then with the fez again, I'm like, okay, I get it. That got really popular.
There were just a lot of little references this episode, which were fine, but it didn't do anything. It didn't take away. It added But
they kind of annoyed me a little bit. I was sort of like, I know that Russell T Davies' Doctor Who totally, and this is just gonna be a lot of comparing it for me. It just
wasn't as subtle, I think, as Russell T Davies.
Russell T Davies,
the background stuff was okay.
The most overt thing that Russell T Davies ever did was in the Poison Sky episode or whatever, where the Doctor has the gas mask on and he's like, "Are you my mummy?"
That was great, though.
See, because he only did that once in a while.
Yeah, that's the thing. There were just so many little things that it was like, I don't know. It didn't.
For me, and maybe it's just because I know it as well as I do, but some of the references came off as like, "Were you aware?"
Yeah, I get that feeling a lot, but I feel like it wasn't for the kind of Whovian Arts who's familiar with all these things and is going to see all of that. It's more for the general audience, maybe.
So we've got the thing that we're going to turn into an action figure of the robot with the twisty head.
I was like, oh look, clockwork androids. Wait.
Nope. And then the Doctor be creeping. I'm just gonna watch you while you sleep.
That's always an aspect of the Doctor's personality, I know, with the female companions. You could say that it's not perhaps the healthiest thing. It kind of creeps on them. But this episode, I don't know, maybe because I'm seeing it for the first time, it really kind of bothered me a little bit. I was kind of it's really awkward because she doesn't know who he is, but he was just, he was cute. He was like an excited puppy. And I feel like it was really for the shippers.
Well, yeah, the shippers drive this show, as we saw on the Tumblr tag. That's this episode. We're like, I ship it already. I'm
biased already. I don't ship it, but I understand people who do because they're definitely setting it up like that, and it's cute.
And I know you also made the note about how it was the whole system of uploading people was
it was Cal and the Silence in the Library. Donna Noble has been saved. All of that. It was oh wait, who wrote that episode?
I know some people disproved that theory of Osmond being the girl.
Yeah. But it was just kind of the same motif, and it was. It's a good motif, but I'm wondering how often. It was all right.
Yeah,
it's pretty much me this episode.
Oh, so Stephen Moffat hates the shit out of Twitter.
Oh my god! If you didn't know.
There was that one point where
isn't that Twitter?
He's they basically insult Twitter.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's funny because Twitter saved the world in in series 5, didn't it? Remember?
Wait.
Because there was some part or something where Twitter saved the world.
Wait, I think you're right. I don't remember what that is. You see, Moffat's feelings about Twitter changed. He had a Twitter account back then. Yeah.
And then there was, I'm just going randomly through, so if I miss something, let me know.
Yeah.
There was the whole okay, so she goes into the TARDIS because the plane is about to crash.
The box.
The Snog box, that was cute.
That was cute.
He wants to make out with everybody.
I was reminded of Kissogram Amy. That was the first thing I thought of.
And then there was, so then they get on the plane and they're like, whoa, and then they come out.
We have special effects now, and I was just I just saw a lot of nods to Sherlock. I don't know if those were intentional or not. The whole thing in Scandal in Belgravia, the Flight of the Dead and everything. I was like, I'm probably just seeing this through a filter, but. You wrote that show too, so I don't know how relevant
but
that
I
is.
loved when they get off the plane and he's like, yes, it's this magic box, tip. And he's got these the fez.
That was so cute with the magic box appearing with all the people. That was probably my favorite scene from the episode, actually.
But then he gets on the motorcycle and he's like, I never take this into battle. I'm like, yeah, you
never
do.
take the TARDIS into battle ever. Bad things happen, so probably why I worry about Matt Smith on a motorbike.
Isn't he well known for being accident prone?
Yeah, I was really worried about him, but it all turned out okay. Those stuntmen were good.
I did like the concept of them showing up in the background of people's photos. And
that was one of my favorite ideas. We have so many cameras around, and that was a really cool thing. The World Wide Web being a pun here, kind of like a spider's web. So.
There we go. So then we have
Oswin?
Dis scene. So they were for the win, and then they're like, win. I was like, no.
So you mean, oh.
I'm like, yeah, see, and then there was all the part with ooh, look, who's on Facebook? Who's on Flickr?
That was kind of
Who's on
freaky.
Twitter? Well, the problem was for me, I'm like, I hate seeing that sort of stuff, and especially in Doctor Who, because not only does it like horrifically date it, like
yeah, that's true. It does. I mean, I guess it's kind of the point. Like, it's supposed to be London in this kind of modern day.
they could have just been like, we're on the internet. Like, I don't, because I just like
I feel
maybe
like
this.
you have to a certain extent to make it, because otherwise it's just going to be awkward. Like, they're obviously saying like, you know, like my book instead of Facebook or something, like things like that.
Well, yeah, I understand that, but it's just it always just maybe it's a personal thing for me, but it always weirds me out when I see that sort of stuff in a world where like it shouldn't exist. Like even shows like, and I know this may seem like a weird reference, but even a show that takes place in the modern world, like say like Degrassi or whatever, like never actually mentions real websites because or real bands or anything like that for that matter, because they're afraid it horrifically dates the show.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that is a thing.
I mean, it's, you know, then there's the whole villain thing, which like
I just thought it was such an interesting concept, like at the end, but then it was the end.
Then it was the end. No, it was a really good idea of like a commentary
General
on our like
intelligence.
dependence on technology, but I feel like it would have been better communicated if like maybe like the kids like Clara was like sitting for or whatever, like were like
I
stuck
forgot
on the
they were
internet.
there.
Yeah.
Oops.
Well, like remember in School Reunion when they have like all like the computers?
Yes.
See, it could have been something like that where they're like zombies on the computer.
Wait,
I mean,
why
that
were
would've-
people more concerned about this if all these bodies?
Yeah,
I guess
just-
it wasn't that many bodies. Like,
Yeah.
But it was enough that it was.
Yeah, you feel like someone would have noticed, especially with like a random news
Because
person.
usually they're pretty good about that in Doctor Who and having, you know, random crisis happening again in London.
Well, like, okay, so, like, also the thing with the making it, like, the School Reunion computers thing. Like, I don't want it to be like that, but that was the quickest thing I could think of. But, like, then also we have, like, someone on, like, the news prompter screen, like, saying all this stuff. And now I don't know if that transmission is just going to the doctor or not. But I'm like, aren't a bunch of people like, why is she talking about this? Mm-hmm. What the fuck? Also, before I forget, the ending with the Great Intelligence or whatever.
So cool.
I'm pretty sure that is a tie-in to, like, the villain of the Christmas special.
Oh.
Because I'm pretty sure it was portrayed by the same actor.
Oh, okay.
Richard E. Grant, who's also known for, he was actually going to be the Doctor for a little while when they were, right before the new series came out,
Mm-hmm.
they did a webcast called, like, The Scream of Shalka or something, and he played, like, it was like an animated Doctor Who.
Oh, yeah, I remember him.
And so he was in that, but then literally, like the day they announced that, the day after, they're like, by the way, it's actually coming back for real.
I mean, that would be really cool because I felt like the Christmas special had some, well, I mean, I won't say, it has potential, but they could dwell on that. That would be cool if they have some kind of overarching thing with it.
I also love the joke. Okay, this was actually pretty great. They're like, who didn't put on their profile that they worked here?
It was like awkward. It was like for a group that knows so much about technology and is doing that, you don't realize that people are going to put on their Facebook where they work.
Yeah.
Gold star, you tried.
You tried, yes,
No,
very
you
much so.
Also the doctor this episode, like, I was trying to place his motivation. He was obviously very obsessed with finding Clara again, which I understood. You can see how he's lost so many people that it's really starting to get to him, and he's really kind of like, I mean, he was like kind of being an excited puppy and taking care of her and guarding her and all this other stuff. It's like I'm kind of worried about him as a character because he's just kind of like, he's lost so many people. It's really starting to show.
Going crazy.
He is a little bit. And then at the end when he was talking about how like to get Clara back, like I want Clara back. Well, we can't just download her. We have to download all the people. And so it's like, okay, download all the people. And I couldn't tell how much of that was just him wanting Clara back and how much of that was him
Actually
wanting to save everybody. And then it was just really easy. It was just like, oh, by the way, just put you in there and then mess with these settings on my handy dandy app.
Just this once, everyone's saved.
Just this one, everybody lives.
So also there's the moment where the doctor's on the motorbike and he goes anti-gravity up the building, which I thought was like...
We have special effects. We have money.
Yeah, I mean, it came off like very much like this is supposed to be like a super cool, awesome moment, but I was sort of like,
I mean, it was supposed to look...
Didn't really do anything for me.
It didn't add anything for me. It was just a thing of the doctor just kind of being the doctor, I guess. It didn't have the I'm the Doctor playing that.
It was just very.
It was very subtle with the music this episode. Oh my god, so good! Like I was dancing around to it. It had the little techno elements because of the whole Wi-Fi thing, and Murray Gold, always good.
I think also. So, just this episode overall. Do you have any other thoughts on just the episode specifically?
I mean, like there were like little motif things. Like I liked the restore factory settings thing at the end. It was really interesting. And I feel like, I don't know.
And the one, like, lady was, like, a child or whatever?
She was a child. It's like, yeah, you mean you've had a hold of me for a while? And I was like, oh, okay. It's like,
long time.
Like, her entire life. That was just so cool. But it's like, I get these little glimpses of something really cool in an episode, and I just wish they could have been fleshed out a little more.
It's just, the problem with this episode for me is still, like, the pacing. Because at some points
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm bored. I'm so bored.
It's just Clara and Eleven talking, and it's cute, but it was just really awkward because it's like, he's just so excited to see her, and she's just like, you're just a dude.
Like, I don't really feel anything about her right now. She's just
Yeah.
kind of, like, there's nothing, like, cool or different
she was just
about her.
kind of-
Like, I guess she's smart because her head was in a computer for a little while.
Yeah, you saw kind of the references to Oswin there. Like, all of a sudden she's a hacker and everything. And we had the parent of Haxor Doctor undownloading her.
Because that's how that works. You undownload, whatever. I mean, it's Doctor Who.
Yeah.
So what would I give this episode overall? Like, out of like a 10, I would give this, no, out of 5. Gotta make it out of 5. Yeah, out of 5.
Okay.
Out of 5, what would you give this?
Oh,
It's tough.
It is tough. I don't know. It wasn't that...
I'll give this, I'm gonna, on my, now this is weird, if it's on like a Matt Smith Doctor Who scale, it's like a 3, but if it's on like an overall Doctor Who scale, it's like a 2.
I mean, I give it like a 3.5 because it didn't make me... Well, it didn't make me angry.
It didn't make you angry. This didn't make me feel like I hated the show.
I know, it was just kind of cute. It was just kind of there. The pacing was not the best, but it wasn't as bad as I think it's been earlier in the series. Yeah. It didn't have the kind of awkward kind of resolution at the end, like Dinosaurs on a Spaceship kind of did. Like, that was obviously over the top and rushed. And this didn't have that as much, but it still was kind of, not quite Deus Ex Machina, but, I mean, just... Just there.
So the 50th anniversary. So the real news of the day. So what I found really odd was that the BBC decided to announce like this morning, I guess. Or
yeah, I wake up
afternoon.
this morning, just kind of sitting in bed, get up the Tumblr app, and I just see this from the Doctor Who Tumblr. David Tennant and Billie Piper returning for the 50th, and I was like, what? I still don't know how I feel about it. I still like I did not think it would happen at all.
Here's the thing about that. I know a lot of people are like very like concerned, like, oh no, Stephen Moffat's gonna write them and they're gonna be terrible. It's like, even if they're written terribly, like, isn't like just like their acting and whatnot, it's just going to be
their presence on screen together, because I mean they were in True Love together, but they were in different episodes and they didn't share a screen. So it's really exciting to see Billy and David together again, and
just being able to see them together, I think, is
that's
just what's
literally
gonna be
all
really
I've
cool.
seen on Tumblr. People just being like, "We'll just not talk about the terrible characters."
They're just
that is inevitable.
We're just gonna see them touching. Wasn't it one of the people you followed was saying like, can we just bring back Doctor Who Confidential for an episode just so we can see them touching?
Exactly. Priorities.
It's gonna be interesting. There's really not a lot of information, and then of course people are like, well, why I want this Doctor to come back. Why isn't this person gonna come back?
They can't. I think David and Billy are in a unique situation because they are in that parallel universe, and they can bring them back as humans who have aged, which I think is the key here, and probably why we're going to see 10, 2, and Rose rather than 10 and Rose.
To be fair, they don't look that much older or anything.
They don't look that much older, but Billy doesn't look 19.
And if you've watched like, well, you will once I show them to you, like multi-Doctor episodes, like they just pull them out of time and then they sort of just like erase their memories. That's usually what happens. Yeah. So like it's totally possible for them to just like pluck them out of wherever they were.
They could totally do that, but I think when he has something that's a lot easier to explain, like the parallel universe.
Is that easier though?
I mean,
is it?
I'm trying to decide if it is.
Like there was in the special, the 2 Doctors where they had the 6th Doctor and the 2nd Doctor. Mm-hmm. They literally tried to pretend that like the 2nd Doctor and Jamie were like the same age as they were when they did the show back in like the 60s, and this was in the 80s, and and Jamie especially looked real older.
Yeah.
So like it's not a thing that hasn't been done before.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see what kind of direction they go. I feel like it might just kind of be some. I don't want to say it's gonna be some cameo thing, but I don't know how much of a role Moffat's gonna give them because it is his show now, and I feel like he's gonna.
They're not just announcing that. I really hope they aren't saying like they're gonna be back and then they're only in like a scene because that would be. They can't
do that. I mean, they're gonna milk it for all it's worth. I mean, they know they're fan favorites. Like in every poll and everything, they're on the top.
Well, it's gonna be, and apparently they're filming it like now.
Yeah, like this week, I think.
So that means, of course, some people will find set pictures. Unless they're all like shooting in a studio or something. But like it's the big thing for me with just this is that like once again, because I know like I think there was some news report that was like, oh yeah, like someone asked Billie Piper, like, are you coming back? She's like, no, I haven't been asked. I'm like, you're a liar. But that's okay
She's
because
actually good about hiding it, unlike everybody else.
Well,
like David Tennant. Oh, he's just so excited.
Really? What was he?
I think he was just kind of like, they haven't asked me back, or they would. You can tell that he's just really like wants
I want
to
say
do
it. Well, it's the thing where it was the same thing when like Rose left Doctor Who, and then Russell T Davies is like, yeah, I'm not gonna bring her back. I'm not gonna bring her back, and then he did. So, I mean, I would love to see people like Captain Jack come back. I would love to see.
John Barrowman obviously has an interest. I mean, I would love to see Christopher Eccleston come back, but he's not going to.
I would love. I mean, there was that one thing where someone was like, "Are you gonna come back?" He's like, "Well, if I told you, I'd have to kill you."
Yeah.
So, but that doesn't mean anything. And
It
I
doesn't.
mean, I would love to see old characters and stuff come back. Like, I am that kind of person, but it has to be done right.
Yeah, you can't just have it to be like a feature show with all the characters because that won't.
Because then, like, it doesn't. Not everyone really gets to shine, and then it becomes more about like, ooh, who is this person? What are they up to these days? Like, and then it becomes less about like, let's have a good story. It's just like, let's have flashy. That's probably one of the.
I mean, it is a 3D special.
3D.
Ooh. I mean, yeah, the bar's a little low there.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna build up to it. I have no doubt in these next couple episodes.
I'm curious to see. This episode kind of made me wonder where it's gonna go with Clara's character with this general intelligence thing. If that's the villain they're addressing this.
I wonder if they're gonna put any like little bits of David Tennant and Billie Piper in these next couple episodes, like they did with Rose at the start of series 4.
Probably not.
Maybe she'll appear on the TV screen.
Talk down. Literally all I was thinking.
Just turn the fuck around.
Turn around.
So we're gonna see.
Yeah,
gonna see.
That's the prediction. This was a good kind of like cute episode. Just kind of be like kind of a teaser, I guess.
Yeah.
Like bits and pieces of what the season could possibly hold.
But hopefully it won't suck.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Really hoping, because next week, did they reuse their costumes from Fires of Pompeii?
Yeah.
Was there a Cigarettes leader? I don't know.
We'll see.
We'll see. But until next time, watchers.
Yes. Whovians, if you're out there.
Allons-y.
Allons-y.